Hello, everybody. I am California and Texas personal injury attorney Michael Eline, reaching out to you today from the land of the unfree and fleeing of California. And today we're going to talk a little bit about civil asset forfeiture, and we're going to talk about what the differences are between that and like eminent domain, for example. And what I'll do is, I don't really have a whole lot of time today, so I'm going to try to fly through this as quickly as possible. I'll do a lawyer reaction video on a couple of different examples and explanations of how civil asset forfeiture works. And we'll start off with this one, and it's really quick, and we'll just get into it.
So what that means is that you can have your property seized by the government without being charged with, let alone convicted of any crime. The burden of proof is flipped on its head. This American presumption of innocent until proven guilty is changed in civil forfeiture cases so that if your property is targeted for forfeiture, you have to prove your own innocence to get it back.
Back in the early 1980s, under Ronald Reagan and Attorney General Edward Meese, there was an effort to reinvigorate forfeiture enforcement.
David Smith is the former deputy chief of the Asset Forfeiture Office at the Department of Justice. He says expanding forfeiture enforcement was originally used as a weapon to fight the war on drugs.
They started passing new laws that expanded civil forfeiture and criminal forfeiture. Unfortunately, part of the 1984 law was this earmarking provision, the idea that we can give law enforcement an incentive to use forfeiture if we set up a special fund in the Justice Department and the Treasury Department where all the forfeited monies would be deposited and then earmarked just for law enforcement purposes.
There's a program called equitable sharing, and that is a dangerous program. It's a program in which the federal government will come to local law enforcement agencies and say to them, if you'll cooperate with us in this civil forfeiture case, we can kick back up to 80% of the money we get to pad your local budgets.
Right after that was passed, forfeiture started to go on a curve like this, and it's never
stopped. So, hey, everybody, good seeing you, Willie B. and Jeff. Yeah, good evening to both of you. So civil forfeiture is something that's near and dear to me because like most of the crimes, like infractions and misdemeanors, they're designed to fleece just enough to where you can't really afford to appeal it. And if you can, get a plea bargain, you can't appeal it anyways, right? And you always want to try to get that plea bargain. That's what the criminal defense attorneys want to get for you, is get you a plea deal. They don't want to get you exonerated. They don't want to get a finding of factual innocence, right? So law enforcement uses those types of fines, infractions, and misdemeanors as a way to generate revenue, because they know, if it's a felony, you're going to spend your whole life savings defending that. So they'd rather get you on the smaller stuff, right? But there's another way they can get you, is with these civil forfeiture laws. And these are really, really scary. And I'll show you another video. Most of you guys in my show have probably already seen the Marine who got pulled over. Good seeing you too, Jeff, definitely. And you too, Steve Ladner. Jody Shiloh, awesome. I'm glad you joined me today. Awesome. That's super cool. So it'll start filling up in a little bit here. But the idea behind the civil forfeiture rules is that the police departments right now are struggling, man. The First Amendment auditors have figured out all their hot spots where they find people. Guys like Press with Rancor have sort of chased them out of their areas where they were getting all the out-of-towners and fleecing people real easy. And it's harder for them to plant drugs or do throwdown weapons when everything's being recorded. So yeah, civil forfeiture is a way to make up for the loss in revenue from not being able to fleece people as easily. Give me a bunch of ones if you understand what I'm talking about. But let's get into it and learn a little bit more. There's only a few more minutes left here.
never stopped. It's just gone up and up. We had no idea that it would over-incentivize law enforcement in the long run.
More and more, especially as state and local budgets come under financial pressure, we are seeing this equitable sharing program grow exponentially as local law enforcement sees there's a bounty to be had by cooperating with federal agents in civil forfeiture cases.
so you kind of get the idea. You know, there's these civil forfeiture rules, and it makes it possible for police to basically say, hey, there's a bunch of money in your car. And since 99% of cash, for example, if you swab it, it'll test positive for drugs or gunpowder, right? Cocaine. So if you have a big wad of cash, the police can say, hey, we think that this was used without any evidence, just by swabbing it or just thinking it. We think that this might have been used in a drug-related offense. And so they'll just take all your money and send you on your way. They're not going to even jail you because it's civil, right? But they still took all your money. So it's really a kind of a crime, but it's the police that are committing the crime. So in this other video that I want to show you guys, man, it is just unbelievable. So I believe this dude was a Marine combat vet, and he's kind of messed up from the war and stuff. And he had a big wad of cash with him, and the police just came and like cops gone wild. Let's take a look. Nevada Highway Patrol. That's right, I wanted to.
I just wanted to tell you, Officer Brown, you're taking money out of my kids' mouths.
Sorry.
You're taking food out of my kids' mouths.
Like I said, we believe right now that this is drug proceeds, this is currency.
Well, I'm going to prove to you that it's not.
Perfect.
So we'll just, I just want to push forward. I mean, we're going to have to watch the whole
Dashcam
thing.
footage of an entire roadside seizure, from the initial traffic stop to the seized money being deposited at the bank. This is the most complete footage we have ever seen. On February 19, 2021, our client Stephen Lara was pulled over outside of Reno by the Nevada Highway Patrol. He was driving to visit his daughters in a small California town just west of Reno.
The driver of this vehicle was following that red and the semi-truck too closely, less than a second following distance. Was driving under the speed limit.
So this dude's driving under the speed limit. Yeah, I want to kind of push this along. I want you to see what's relevant here.
Unfortunately, I had some car trouble, and that was necessary to get a rental car.
The dude's got the military bearing.
Short duration for that weekend.
I'm doing great. Hey, the reason I'm stopping you, we have a special enforcement campaign going on. We're trying to educate drivers about violations they may not realize they're committing, but we're seeing a big increase in crashes out here. First, applaud you on your driving. You drive great. You're driving really slow. It appears that you're trying to drive safely under the speed limit. I appreciate that. I just want to talk about your following distance, especially around commercial vehicles.
The highway patrol officer seems friendly and reasonable at first, even complimenting Stephen's driving. He orders Stephen.
Yeah, and so that's part of the game, right? That's part of the the big game that they play, where they try to act nice. It's kind of like a sales job, like you're, on a date and you're a womanizer and you're just trying to get her to loosen up. And in this case, he's trying to get his victim to loosen up so he can engage in an investigation to try and generate revenue, because this is how these guys make their living. They're revenue generating agents. I think Brian from Here's the Deal calls them like road pirates or something.
To exit his vehicle and starts asking him a series of questions unrelated to why he was pulled over. Police often ask questions like this to see if a suspect's story lines up.
You a fighter?
Am I a fighter?
Yeah, you got a tap out shirt on.
Well, I've got a lot of training. I'm a retired Marine.
What do your daughters do, man? Ever been in trouble with law enforcement before? When did you leave? Where did you leave? What part of Texas are you thinking you're buying a house in?
See that? Like, I'm sorry, man. Hold on. I'm going to roll this back because I'm sitting here watching this stupid video and you're not watching it with me.
He orders Stephen to exit his vehicle and starts asking him a series of questions unrelated to why he was pulled over. Police often ask questions like this to see if a suspect's story lines up.
That's right.
You a fighter?
Am I a fighter?
Yeah, you got a tap out shirt on.
Well, I've got a lot of training. I'm a retired Marine.
What do your daughters do, man? Ever been in trouble with law enforcement before? When did you leave? Where did you leave? What part of Texas are you thinking you're buying a house in?
So you just see all the questions, right? Just like all these questions. Oh, hey, that's so nice. Because he's trying to make an investigation to prove that this guy might be a drug trafficker, or to get additional information to enable him to do a warrantless search of the vehicle and get away with it, or to do a pat down search for weapons or whatever. It's just, that's what this whole bad chicken is about. No, Jeff, you should be able to see it now. It just looks like there's some comm issue going on here. Hey, Brett, I appreciate that. Brett Ray just came through with a $20 for a coffee. I appreciate that. Guys, I've been doing these shows nonstop and I'm just exhausted. And so that $20 means a lot to me, because I can go to my wife now and say, hey, look, I'm actually, I got some coffee out of this deal. But no, seriously, sorry about that little pause there where I'm staring at my screen. That's because I'm wiped out. I've been up since like 04 today, and I've been moving all weekend. And, I've got the sore fingers and I'm just slow as heck. I could use a ice cold beer right now, but I'm going to move forward for my people, Team MPE. Give me a bunch of ones for Team MPE. And thanks all my loyal followers for coming and joining me. And today we're talking about the civil asset forfeiture laws. Just bear with me, guys. A lot of you guys know this has been a marathon race for me, trying to stay on top of all this stuff. And of course, Steve, we know that all the drugs aren't being destroyed, right? The seized drugs, a lot of them end up with law enforcement, and some of them end up as throwdowns, where they plant them. Because, if you can plant drugs and you can get the money, you can get a civil asset forfeiture of a car or a truck or whatever. And what happens with these civil asset forfeiture laws is, I guess it goes to like the federal government is like they act as like a referee or something. And then 80% of the money goes to the law enforcement agency, I guess, that seized it. And then I guess the feds get a part of it. I mean, talk about something that our founding fathers would have shit their pants over, right? Like if you were, Thomas Jefferson or one of those guys, like, give me a break. I mean, it's amazing how the Fourth Amendment, they can just pass some crazy rule and it just doesn't apply anymore, But I guess they say since it's civil, right, it's not criminal, so it's not criminal, so that criminal rules wouldn't apply. But isn't it criminal to take somebody's life savings from them? I don't know. I think it is. Let's go ahead and keep watching this bad chicken.
What were you doing for work up there?
The officer then explains the real reason he pulled Stephen over.
Hey, while I'm working on this, let me ask you something, man. This is going to sound kind of weird. Part of my job out here is I do what's called highway interdiction. I look for people that are smuggling contraband through our state, across the country, weapons, humans, drugs, illicit currency, things like that. Anything in the vehicle I should be aware of? Okay. No firearms, no explosives. Okay. Are there any drugs in the vehicle? Cocaine?
So you like that? I mean, guys, give me a break. I mean, this Marine is just clueless, man. That's why I go out of my way, especially to help combat, and Marines in particular, because we're just so conditioned. Yes, sir. No, sir. Good to go. Even if you're injured, you try to pretend like you're not. I mean, just like trained to be honest and motivated. And this guy's thinking, oh, this guy's a cop. He's probably, paramilitary. He might be a vet himself. Sure, I'll be honest with this guy. He doesn't realize that this cop is trying to find a way to get an arrest or to seize his property. He doesn't understand that. And so that's the big problem that I have with these veterans and military people. We're just so trained to be so forthright and, sir, yes, sir. And the modern generation of police, their job is to investigate. And every time you talk to them, you're engaging in an investigation against yourself. Okay. You're engaging in an investigation against yourself. Do you understand, ladies? Okay. So let's go ahead and keep watching this bad chicken.
Yeah, I got to ask all these silly questions, right? Okay. Any large amounts of United States currency in the vehicle? Okay. What's a large amount of U.S. currency to you?
There you go. So he literally asked the guy, do you have any large amounts of U.S. currency? And this jackwagon is so dumb. I mean, strike that. I didn't mean that. The victim the civil forfeitee is so innocent and so honest because of his military background, and probably because he has PTSD. He's probably been blown up. I mean, if he was a Marine, that's a high probability. He was in the Helmand province in Afghanistan, and I mean the roadside bombs, I think, took out more Marines than anything else. You know, the guys getting blown up all over the place. So give me a bunch of ones if you're a veteran and you know what I'm talking about. But hey, man, we got 115 people in here, guys. Good seeing everybody. Steve Ladner, where I live, self-proclaimed heroes will ruin a kid's life over a rolling paper to make themselves look good, but are afraid of the cartels because they will fight back. Yeah, that's probably true. There's a lot of crazy things going on in this world, man. I mean, we see the European population is being totally replaced by people from third world countries. And the native Europeans are being outright replaced and badgered, and you know, foreigners are coming in there and having their way with their women. And if they say anything about it, they're being jailed for hate crime, hate speech. And we see that same kind of hate speech thing happening here in like California. They're trying to make anything that goes against the government's hate speech. A lot of crazy things, Steve. And then the civil forfeiture thing is just blowing my mind. Let's keep watching this.
Okay. So there's over 10,000 in there? Okay. How much money you got in there? Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Would you give me permission to search your vehicle today? That's okay with you?
Yeah. So basically, you know, this guy's interrogating him, and the Marine's going along with it. So the cop basically got him, number one, to admit that he has reasonable articulable suspicion that this guy could be a drug trafficker, at least in the cop's mind. And now here's the kicker. He still doesn't really have it. He doesn't have enough to search the guy's vehicle. But do you mind if I search your vehicle? Do you mind if I violate you? Do you mind if I bend you over and destroy your life, sir? Let's just keep watching. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay, perfect.
Although it's Stephen's right to refuse, he gives the officer permission to search his car.
I didn't want to come across as being non-cooperative or combative. So I did what I felt was right, and I was very honest, very forthcoming.
Yep. I just want everybody to see, like, this dude's. I want everybody to understand the difference between the Marine Corps and the other branches. I mean, once you get through Marine Corps boot camp, even if you don't get all the way through your school or whatever, that Marine Corps culture, it never leaves you. And you can see the way he's behaving. This is why I like to help guys like this. This is one of the reasons why I want to watch this video. I mean, these are the kind of guys that you want to have around you. You want to live near people like this. When things go bad, these are the guys who will come out. They'll have, you know, they'll be handing you water. They'll help dig out your family from under the rubble. That's just the way we're built, man. Check this guy out. What a legit dude.
I was also very respectful, and I just wanted to make their job as easy as possible so that I could be on my way to spend time with my children.
Yep.
Right. Hey, Shane, how are you? Good. Hey, can you head out to a traffic stop? Or are you busy on that other stuff on today? So if I was still searching a car, but big bundle of money, it says probably at least 100,000.
That interaction shows what's at the heart of the officer's interest in Stephen. He knows that even though Stephen did nothing wrong, the DEA will adopt the seizure of his cash and return a portion of the money to the Highway Patrol for the favor of giving them the case.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to get at with you. So basically, you've got the local law enforcement dude working with the feds to try to figure out a way to take your money. And it's obvious that this dude is not involved in any kind of drugs or anything. He's a super, super legit, honest Marine. And I think he does have PTSD. I think he's messed up. I mean, this is the kind of guy I would be doing a fundraiser for, you know, if I was doing these videos back when this happened. It just really makes me really sick, you know, when I see this stuff. It makes me want to throw up. So I hope, you know, even if you've seen this before, I hope that you can see why I'm so upset.
Here's how an adoption works. When state or local police seize cash, cars, or other property, federal law enforcement takes over the forfeiture. The federal agency does all the work and kicks back up to 80% of the proceeds to the state agency that seized the property. In Stephen's case, that would mean the DEA would take control of the cash and seek to forfeit it through federal law, ignoring the important limitations that Nevada law places on seizures and forfeitures. In 2019 alone, federal agencies made $334 million.
So this is something that a little nuance that a lot of people haven't really delved into. So with civil forfeiture, you have state and you have federal civil forfeiture laws, right? So, the federal government, they're, 10 miles square, I guess not, but they're supposed to be very limited to commerce, protecting us from foreign invasion, which obviously they're not doing a very good job at our southern border, are they? And, providing national defense, protect commerce and disputes between the states. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to have all this power. But so they do have this civil forfeiture law. And since they have the power to regulate commerce and they have this other power to regulate drug laws and all the federal schedules of drugs, it puts them in a really unique position to where they could form a partnership with the state law enforcement agency that has weak civil forfeiture laws. In other words, in Nevada, their civil forfeiture laws are more strict. In other words, it's harder under Nevada state law to steal someone's property. It's much easier under the federal law. So these guys already have their conspiracy, in my opinion, no different than a RICO case. These Nevada Highway Patrol guys already have their own conspiracy worked out where they call their buddy over at the feds, and this is the end result. Let's keep watching, guys, because this is disgusting that they would do this to one of our war fighters, especially a fellow Marine. That makes it doubly disgusting. Give me a bunch of ones and a bunch of oorahs for my beloved Corps.
In equitable sharing payments to state and local law enforcement agencies. In this case, the Nevada Highway Patrol stands to gain nearly $70,000 by taking Stephen's money.
I think you're a good guy.
I'm a good guy.
So how much cash is that?
About 100 grand.
100 grand. Okay. So as you know, right? I'm a vet. He's a vet. You're a vet. It's not illegal to carry currency, have currency.
Wait a minute. So now we know that cops lie. They're allowed to lie. They're trained to lie. And the Supreme Court says that's okay. So that they do that is a matter of course. They're trained in the academy that it's okay to lie. But they're good, honorable people, even though they can lie, right? And so honestly, I don't even know if these law enforcement guys were veterans. They could very well just be lying. And guess what? It wouldn't matter because they're allowed to lie. So I want you guys to let that sink in. Lulling someone like this innocent dude who's trying to look after his family, who's clearly disabled from being a combat Marine. And he's a legit dude, man. I mean, check him out, Obviously, he's not like in shape like he was if he was like, back when he was in. He probably put on a few pounds, but he probably doesn't have any knees anymore. And, like any good Marine, he probably drinks his fair shares of beers, but he still looks squared away. He's got a proper Marine Corps discipline haircut. He's got his tap out shirt, which shows this is kind of a dated video. But other than that, I mean, legit dude, no threat.
It does, though, make us ask some questions on why someone has 100,000. I can understand why you don't trust banks, especially in this day and age right now.
Stephen keeps his savings in cash. Maybe that's uncommon, but as the officer acknowledges, it's not illegal.
I have nothing to hide from you.
I appreciate that. Give me a few seconds. I'll make a couple phone calls, right?
The officer first calls his superior. He interrupts that call to speak again with the DEA agent.
Are you on your way out here? Okay. I'm waiting to hear back from Shane to see if he comes out here. This is it's a strange one, but not a strange one. Consented to a search, said there was money up there. We located what he says is $100,000. It's in a Ziploc sandwich baggie. There's also, I haven't gone into it a bunch. I'm waiting to hear back from Shane, but there's a bunch of bank receipts and stuff in there as well to show the currency. At this might Shane. Hold on a second.
So there's actually bank receipts. Dude, this is so ridiculous. There's actually bank receipts showing that this is legit cash. I mean, And this cop is thinking, man, there's evidence, there's exculpatory evidence that, that this dude legitimately owns this money, right? And he's telling this guy this because he's basically, in my opinion, he's coaching him. He's basically coaching the guy in the other line to feed him enough information to where they can find a way to seize this cash. You guys following me so far? And as we watch this, it'll start to make more sense. But the bottom line is there's evidence right there. You see it right there. You see his gloves. There's evidence of receipts that this is not a drug transaction. But you can hear in his voice that excited tone. Okay, think of it this way. You come back to the chief. You've got a cash-strapped department. They're looking to get a couple of new SUVs. Maybe they want to, get some extra range time at the good range. Pay some extra money to have the range built up better. Maybe hire a different CQB instructor. Now they got the money for it. Hey, Sarge. Hey, Chief, we got this extra cash. Oh, I'm so excited. They're trying to figure out a way to take this guy's money, this Marine's money. And allegedly they're veterans. Talk about Judas, right? Talk about the ultimate traitorous thing you could ever do is to do that to a fellow vet. And you know what I'm talking about, Let's OTVO. Like even when I have issues with bona fide veterans, on YouTube or disputes, if it's a Marine, I'm not gonna continue to do that. If I have proof that this other dude's legit, I'm not gonna do some kind of public battle over that. That's Marine business. You know what I'm saying? What these guys are doing here is, they're destroying this guy's life. That's what they're doing. Look at this.
It is a shame.
Here comes Shane.
Around 20 minutes later, the officer's superior, a highway patrol sergeant, is recorded on his body cam chatting with the same DEA agent who apologizes for not being able to make it.
No issues. It's too easy to do an adoption. We contacted you, so I think everything's going to be okay. And I'll text you the money count after we get it. It'll probably be a couple hours.
Remember, there's still no probable cause to seize Stephen's money. All the officers have is a large amount of cash, and cash is not a crime. But the sergeant isn't giving up.
Wait, and they have exculpatory evidence of receipts that this money should have never been seized. I just want you guys to see how ridiculous this is. I mean, look what they did to Chili DeCastro. They locked the dude up. They give him a 6-month sentence. He's got no way to defend himself. You lose everything. You lose your business. You've got creditors chasing you around. It's unbelievable, the damage that these people can do. And all they care about is getting their hands on 70% of $100,000 by hook or by crook. They're going to find a way to get it. And this is probably the reason I haven't closed my YouTube channel down, because I know you may have seen these videos before with other announcers or MCs, but I haven't seen all these videos, and I haven't MC'd them, and I have a totally different take on a lot of this stuff. I'm looking at that cruiser right there. I'm looking at the cost of what it costs per hour to have these cops out there to shake this dude down. And I'm just going, you got to be freaking kidding me. And that dude right there, you can tell by his bearing and discipline alone that he is a squared away dude. And it just absolutely blows me away that we see more and more the police are targeting the squared away people. They're looking for the people who are flush with cash. They know that the criminals and the illegal aliens don't have any money. They're not going to be able to pay their fines, right? But they know this guy, he's got $100,000. Keep on watching.
So why the distrust for the banking system?
I just don't trust them. That's just my reasoning. It's my personal thing.
Oh, I'm not trying to convince one or the other. It's just,
so you hear this guy? Why don't you have money in the bank? He doesn't have to answer any of their questions, but you know what he does? He gives the most badass answer that I've ever heard. Because I don't trust banks. I don't trust them, sir. I mean, who would not go along with that? You see, look, the banks are going to collapse here pretty soon from what we're seeing on the news. We're $75 trillion in debt. They're trying to force us into this digital currency, and they're trying to do this whole mind control thing with the social credit scores. I mean, the only people who are going to have any kind of free will are going to be the people who aren't into the digital currency and aren't being controlled by the state being forced to go along with the DEI and the social credit scoring and all that. So in my opinion, that's the real reason why they're going after people like him and other people who are so-called anti-government. People who believe in the Second Amendment, people who believe in legal immigration are now considered anti-government. I don't know. I can't figure it out either, guys. Somebody help me in the sidebar. Hey, Steve Ladner, soccer moms are afraid to travel with cash where I live. That's probably true. And I agree, you've got your ups and downs wherever you go, brother, but people should have the right to have cash on them, right? I mean, that's shouldn't have to be controlled. I mean, if you want to use digital currency, that should be an option. It shouldn't be the rule. You shouldn't be controlled by the government. They serve us. We don't serve them. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Now, we're going to go ahead and get back into this bad chicken really quick and see what this Marine has to say. Hoorah.
It's not usual.
After questioning Stephen, the sergeant speaks privately with the officer who pulled him over.
What are your thoughts, Chris?
I kind of leaning more towards it's odd, but
it's not packaged like normal.
No, and he's answering the questions. There's receipts here, and
I would like to put the dog on the currency, man.
Okay.
The two.
Okay, so this is what's cool, right? Like I told you guys at the beginning of this video, like almost all U.S. currency, it tests positive, I think, for cocaine and drugs, like any kind of money, like people, they make straws when they snort their Coke or whatever. And so it's just all over the money, it gets all mixed together. So, I mean, what a racket, right? Let's go get the dog to sniff on it. And if drugs are picked up, then we can say that it was, even though he's got receipts, and all currency is going to test positive for some kind of drugs. These government employees are the lowest of the low. These cops right here, lowest of the low, what they're doing to this Marine. Give me a bunch of ones. I want to see it if you agree that they're the lowest of the low. And I want to thank you, Brett Ray. That's right. And that was a cool song too. All right, here we go.
Officers agree that Stephen has been forthcoming and has years worth of bank receipts showing that he has withdrawn his savings from his bank accounts. But the sergeant orders the junior officer to put the dog on the currency.
Sure.
The sergeant puts Stephen's money in an open Ziploc bag and throws the open package to the ground on the side of the road, less than 40 yards from Stephen's car.
You gotta be kidding me. All right, so that looks like BZ Watchdog's dog. So, hey, Chuck Peeve, thank you, brother. And Chuck's right. Chuck's throwing a tenner at me because he wants me to share something with you. And these cops, they ask him this question, and then they take everything from him.
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers? To the concentration camp with you.
Yeah, in this case, it was to the concentration camp with his money. But okay, so Chuck, thank you so much for that, brother. Look, I got to share something with you guys. Dude, they take his money, right? And then the cop, right, throws it. But the dog knows the smell of the cop, right? So he's chasing a bag that smells like his master. And in this case, it probably, I don't know if he saw the guy throw it, but if he did, he's already tracking it. I don't know. We'll have to go back and check it out another time, but I don't know. It just looks pretty ridiculous. So I just say that all this stuff like calling the dog, that's all just, it's pretext. These give them pretextual reasons to justify violating your rights. That's all that is. So, I mean, I just can't even believe this is happening in my country. I mean, really? Watch what happens to this dude.
Positive alert.
We'll go forward with it.
Okay.
This positive alert appears to have given the sergeant what he thinks he needs to take Stephen's life savings. Remember, both officers have planned all along to hand the money to the DEA.
Of course.
They are looking for a legal justification. but numerous studies have shown anywhere between 67 and 100% of U.S. currency has trace amounts of drugs.
Oh, yeah.
For that,
for sure, guys. I mean, I would say it's 100%, because every dollar bill, every 20, that's been used, it gets mixed in with other money. And, all it takes is a trace element for a dog to be able to pick up that scent. It's, in a drawer, in a place, or, a bunch of money, at P. Diddy's house for a weekend. That's probably enough to get all the cash in New York covered with it, right? I don't know. I'm just joking, P. Diddy. Don't get me. Is it Diddy now? He's got a new name. Little Kitty? I can't remember. Yeah, it looks like a trap, right? And okay, so check this out. Tim Bray says Australia is going cashless and the public's fighting back. The shops are saying cash is king and ringing police if they don't accept it. Hey man, this is a big deal, guys. You got these globalists like, the WEF or these Gavin Newsom types. They want to control every aspect of your life. And this digital currency thing, it's evil, man. Having the government knowing about all your spending, where you go, what you did, that's exactly what our founding fathers fought against. And now it's like, you have these Western politicians behaving like communist Chinese dictators like Trudeau, right? And it's like, where did these people come from? And this is an end result of people like that. Now, look, people will blame Ronald Reagan. Oh, he's this conservative Republican, for the civil forfeiture laws. And you're right, he did sign that. He also did a lot of other bad things. He also did a lot of good things, right? But the problem is, whether it's conservative or, left or right, whatever, they all have some good things that they bring to the table. The problem is they're also doing a lot of dirty, dastardly stuff behind closed scenes, closed doors that are bad. And we're so conditioned to just lock, stock, and barrel support both, our party or whatever it might be, that we can't see the forest through the trees, and they're crapping all over us, both of them, right? So that's why I like it when guys come on my channel, because I give you the straight scoop, and we, no matter what your politics are, we can talk about the great Leviathan in natural law and how important it is to be a natural law person and understand that your rights come from an all-powerful creator and they can't be taken away by the government. And so that's the message that I have. Engage in parallel systems so you don't have to deal with these road pirates. Set up your own community, hire your sheriff, have a good shire of the reef who's honest and honorable, and surround yourself with people like this, and only do business with people like the people in my sidebar. Pay a premium if you have to get their services, as opposed to buying something from one of these like Walmart or Amazon who support, companies like BlackRock who are anti-parent, in my opinion, because they support things like the Safety Act in California, where public school teachers are now allowed to secretly groom children, many experts say, away from their parents, keep secrets from parents, because it's hateful and violent to tell parents about certain secrets that teachers feel they need to keep. So a lot of stuff going on, guys, real dangerous times. Let's check this out.
Reason a dog alert to currency on its own does not show the currency was used in an illegal drug transaction.
Right. What we're going to do, I believe there's drug proceeds, dog alerted to it.
Drug proceeds?
Yeah, it's very common, sir. We get people that are trafficking large quantities of marijuana from Northern California to all states east, even from Reno.
Sir, I can tell you right now.
I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen, okay? We're going to seize it today, but that doesn't mean we're the final judgment on it.
And that's pretty much BS too. I mean, once they seize that cash, unless you have somebody like Mike Eline working around the clock pro bono, you'll never see that money again. That's just the reality. And by the way, take a look at this dude behind him, right? He's getting ready to pounce. He'd love nothing more than to take down this Marine and arrest him. And these guys are supposedly veterans. I mean, this is absolutely disgusting to me, what I'm seeing right here. And it's no wonder so many people hate law enforcement. I mean, this is sick, guys. This is absolutely disgusting. Just because you have the power to do something doesn't mean that you exercise it, right? I mean, I know I'm not the baddest, toughest guy. I'm not a MMA fighter or whatever, but I'm pretty good at judo. I know I can throw more people than not. I know I can do all that stuff, but doesn't mean that I'm going to do it. I know there's guys bigger than me that could cut in front of me and in front of a line and knock me out with one punch if I complain about it, but they don't do that. They don't exercise that power. And just like law enforcement, just because you've been granted this authority doesn't mean you have to always exercise it with such a heavy hand. Doing justice is part of being a peace officer. And more often than not, you see law enforcement and you don't see peace officer anymore. They're not trying to create a peaceful environment. They don't even de-escalate typically. I mean, that guy's behind him. This is a situation where this guy just having all his money taken away, they're escalating this situation. Seems like so far he's keeping it cool, but they see the tap out shirt. They've already profiled him as somebody who's going to be combative, and they love that because they get to try out all their, their pepper spray and their shock kits, and they can put in a work comp claim too if they get injured, so they can make some extra money out of this deal. It's good stuff for them.
It's going to go through the DEA, okay? So the DEA will contact you, and the DEA will provide you with a means to fight it. You're going to have to provide your pay stubs. You're going to have to provide your other receipts and stuff like that, okay?
Stephen now.
Wait, you're going to have to provide your pay stubs and your other receipts because they know that he's already got receipts proving that it's his money that he withdrew from a bank. So it's no different from a legal perspective than having it on a credit card. He literally can show that it was taken from his bank. Ridiculous. Let's see what she has to say. I kind of like this lady, by the way.
Has nothing. He had to convince his brother to wire him $1,000 to continue his trip to see his daughters.
Just want to let you know, I know you're just doing your job. That money I worked really hard for.
Yeah, but you heard that Marine, right? Oh, I know you're just doing your job. That guy, if that's his job, he needs to find another job, right, guys? I mean, what do you think, Brett? I mean, my dog Rex, yeah, all of government acts like the IRS. That is true now more than ever. The cities are so cash strapped. I mean, the people who are flush with cash are leaving places like California because they don't want to have anything to do with the social engineering, all of the nonsense that they're forcing on little kindergarten kids in the public schools. Parents are freaking out. And look, a lot of the illegals, like the Latinos that are coming in, they do not like the social engineering, like all these blue-haired academics who just got out of UCLA or USC, right? And they got their teaching credentials. They don't like these woke academics trying to brainwash their kids. And that's what they think they're doing. They think that they're brainwashing their kids. Because down in El Salvador, Mexico, you don't have this kind of crap happening in their schools. It's only happening in the woke progressive cities and states. And so they're freaking out. So I don't know how this is going to work out for Newsom, because all the people that have the cash are leaving. I think even Musk is pulling out of California. I think he's going to take X down pretty soon too. Oh, by the way, Musk is coming up with his own search engine. That'll be interesting. There was a thing on the news today that Google is suppressing all the searches about a Trump assassination. And it's like, wow, really, guys? Do you have to show any more proof that you support one political party and not the other? I mean, come on. It's crazy, right, guys? So yeah, that's right. Well, you can, Brett, you can definitely do all that stuff. You can sue and you can do all these things. But right now, this dude is out his cash, man, and he's stranded. He's got no money, nothing. They took everything. Here we go. How kind of them to.
Hotel. Texas. So, stuck here unless somebody sends me some money. No way providing for my children this money. Get back to Texas.
And what's worse, the dude's from Texas. So I really, my heart's out to him because people from Texas are good people, man. At least the traditional Texans that I know, pretty much all of them just are of a higher level of character. And, it's like, even when you go to like some restaurants in Texas, if the national anthem is played or something, everybody stands up and puts their hands on their heart. I mean, how much prouder could you be to be an American? And for this guy to have this happen to him, it just makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah, road pirates. That's right, Dan Glick. These guys, they'll come along and they'll ask you all these stupid questions like,
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers? To the consecrated capital.
Yeah, I hope you guys love my "Where are your papers?" So, guys, let me just see. I think I got. So I have Leto's Law. I'm going to go out on a limb and hope that he doesn't get upset at me for sharing part of his video. I follow this guy's channel, and I encourage everybody on my channel to check him out too. I just think the guy's really cool. And he's got some really, like, he does stuff in his garage, and he just seems like a cool guy, like not a typical lawyer. And as you guys know, I don't really like lawyers that much. So this is my kind of guy. If I was going to hang out with someone, it would be this guy. Let's check it out.
Welcome once again to Leto's Law. Here's Steve Leto.
Civil asset forfeiture is something we talk about quite a bit on this channel. And I've mentioned before that to make it go away is going to take a lot of work because, number one, the states do it. So each state would need to pass a law against it. But the feds also do it. So the feds would have to pass a law against it. And so you could live in a state, for instance, that got rid of it at their level, but federal agents could still take your stuff. And so this is maddening. And there is so much support now to get rid of this that we're starting to see results. So a bunch of people sent me a story yesterday out of Kansas, and this is from the kansasreflector.com, written by Tim Carpenter. Kansas legislature brings gavel down on civil asset seizure powers of law enforcement. Now, it hasn't been passed into law yet, but the legislature has passed it, and they're waiting for the governor to sign it. So Democratic Rep. Gail Finney ruffled state and local police officials and prosecutors 7 years ago by publicly denouncing as unjust the state law allowing seizure of property based on mere suspicion of illegal activity and a daunting barrier to challenging those actions, even if the defendant was never charged or convicted of a crime. So for those of you who don't know, you can be driving along one day, minding your own business, and you get pulled over. And the police discover you're carrying cash on you. They can just take the cash and say, you want your cash back? Sue us. And if you said, why are you taking my cash? You go, oh, well, we are suspicious that you're either about to go commit a crime with it or that you did commit a crime which created it or something, but it doesn't matter. The burden of proof is now on you to.
Boom. And that is the genius of civil forfeiture, because they're circumventing the Constitution, but they're basically becoming criminals themselves, and they're stealing your money, and they make it so almost impossible for you to get your money back. And in this particular case, that Marine was able to get his money back at some point because he was able, I believe, to get these pro bono lawyers to help him out. And obviously, if I would have known about that back then, I would have definitely helped out too. I mean, it's terrible. But one of the ways, a lot of people complain about stuff, but what do we do about it? What do we do to fix it? So one of the ways that we can fix it is right here on my show. I mean, just like Chile has OTVO, we should have overturned civil forfeiture too. And we should start contacting our legislators, our local representatives, and start pushing. And we should team up here on my channel to come up with, I mean, the people on my channel who are lawyers or paralegals, people who are good with English, good writers, reach out to me and let's come up with a game plan to go national and get everybody on Team MPE to try and let's make our mark. You know, I'll handle the proposed legislation. I can draft it. I can draft a proposed bill. And I can team up with lawyers in other states to draft legislation in their state. So I'm not doing it or practicing law without a license, right, in their states. But in the states that I'm licensed, I can help draft that proposed legislation. And on the federal level as well, I helped draft portions of the Cruise Ship Safety Act. And I've lobbied Congress several times on behalf of victims. And I would be more than happy to do that now that I see that it's such a serious problem. So if any of you are interested, you know, reach out to me and we'll do it. And let's just see what's going on here in the sidebar. If anybody's got, does anybody have any questions for me in the sidebar about any of the stuff that's going on with civil forfeiture, civil asset forfeiture, let me know. I mean, I'd love to be able to, answer any questions that y'all have. Yeah, that's right. Brett, I do too. That's the thing. So, I was talking to Chili the other day. He was pointing out that Trump wants to pass a law that you can't burn the American flag, and make that a criminal offense. And I immediately pointed out, well, it's already like a hate crime to burn a rainbow flag or do burnouts on a rainbow crosswalk. So, you can look at it from both points of view. For me, Brett, burning the American flag is an act of violence, because if you do it in front of me or a bunch of other veterans, we're going to probably want to fight over that. We're going to try to save the flag because that's how we are. We're all about Old Glory. It means something different to us, but it doesn't mean that I believe there should be a law passed. It means that you should use common sense, and that we should be teaching civility, and we should be teaching culture and civics. And the best way to do that is to put your kids into homeschooling and probably do some homesteading and do some work with mentors, work with adult male mentors with your kids, especially your boys, so that they can learn a trade like plumbing, electrical, and do it that way. Even if you decide to become a lawyer later, like I did, at least that your son will be able to change out a light bulb, fix a broken pipe when there's no plumbers around, be able to stop a water heater from flooding your garage. Little things like that. That is one of the best ways to get yourself a good woman, because a good woman appreciates a man like that. And she's typically going to be a good woman who can also help you be evenly, what do they call that? Two oxes evenly yoked, where the two oxes they're pulling the cart at the same time. That's what you want, that push pull, like in the military, when one man's down, the other man pulls. You keep on going, so that's what we want. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Give me a bunch of ones if you think that, if you agree with Trump that burning the American flag should be a crime punishable by jail time. Give me a bunch of twos if you don't, and then we'll do our little mini polling here. So 2 if you don't support Trump making it a crime to burn the American flag, and then a bunch of 1s if you do support it. And of course, I've told you guys, I don't really support having a law. I believe that it's a mindset, and I think that it's like you wouldn't go around a bunch of Hell's Angels by yourself and start talking about one of their rival clubs and how the Hell's Angels are no good, right? You wouldn't do that. And just like nobody in their right mind would burn an American flag in front of a platoon of Marines on or off duty. At least back when I was in that whole platoon, they would probably go to the brig before they'd let Old Glory get burned. So that's just a mindset, but it doesn't mean that you should support. In my mind, it doesn't mean there needs to be a law. And also there's enforceability issues. What constitutes an American flag? When is it, or is it not an American flag, right? So I just think there would be too many vagaries. And I just think that it's low class to kneel or burn Old Glory, because Old Glory means something different to people like me than it does to, some academic at Harvard, right? Because I'm not a communist. I believe in natural law and the Bill of Rights and the Unanimous Declaration. And I believe in the majesty of what an amazing document our Bill of Rights in particular is, to recognize pre-existing rights that no man can put asunder. That's pretty amazing. Right, guys? All right, so let's see. So right now, it looks like most of my audience does not support the idea of a law that makes it a crime. But Brett proudly says, yes, I think that it should be a crime to burn Old Glory. And, and I respect that, Brett. I think that it will be very hard to enforce a law like that. But you already know my attitude, burn a flag in front of me and see what happens. It's not going to be good, because I'll lose my mind. And in fact, that is what the Supreme Court case says. The Supreme Court case says that you have a First Amendment right to burn a flag unless it leads to violence, unless it could cause a violent act. And of course, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, imagine trying to do that in front of a bunch of bikers, right? I don't know of any motorcycle club, especially any 1%er club, no matter what they are, no matter what race, if they're an all black club, if they're like the Vagos, if they're the Hells Angels or the Mongols, you burn an American flag in front of any of those dudes, and you're probably not going to be a happy camper. I found that more and more, it's like the people who support our Constitution and our Bill of Rights more and more seem to be the ones that the government treats as outlaws. I don't know. Give me a bunch of ones if you're seeing that as well. That's right, Jeff. That's right, Jeff. When they taught in the Scouts that if the flag touches the ground, you have to burn it. Yeah, and there's a special way that you have to burn it as well. I think you have to burn it at 4 corners, and it's a really big deal, especially to the Marines. Like it was to us, it was everything. Infantry guys, like when they played Reveille, when I was in boot camp at night and stuff, it was not Reveille, taps. It was really like, kind of a spiritual experience, pretty amazing. It's kind of funny, the song Taps actually is an old drinking song, like an English drinking song, that they're closing the taps. But, it's evolved into, saying goodnight to Old Glory and to the people who passed away. Taps played at the funerals, right? So, yeah. Hey, Avilia, I'm so glad that you're here. Yes, that absolutely, Avilia, and Brett, yes, that's right. It's against the flag code not to replace a weathered flag, and so Brett, that's where I'm at. My attitude is that we have to be examples to our neighbors and to these people who have been radicalized. Some of them may be possessed by demons and we may not be able to save them, but other ones may be savable still. And just to be a good, positive example and teach them the proud history of America and, how great it once was and how great it could be even better in the future. Innovative guys like Elon Musk, like one man could change the world. Who knows? We might be flying to Mars pretty soon. You never know. One guy could be a game changer. The good news is the enemy, the Leviathan, they're collectivists. So they don't have original thought. They're like the Borg, right? So there's no innovation in a collectivist mentality. Oh, by the way, did you guys see what happened in Venezuela? Maduro was losing by a landslide. He couldn't rig enough of the elections. And so he shut down all the polling stations and called out all of his armed police to prevent people from voting. And man, what a crazy time in life, right? To see all this stuff happening. Yeah. And okay. So now my dog Rex has a different point of view about the flag. It's a piece of cloth. The flag is not a god. And, my dog Rex, I totally get it, brother. And what I don't want is for you guys to fight with each other about it. We can have a difference of opinion, but I'm just telling you, like, if somebody wants to, like, if I'm at a funeral for a Marine veteran, right, and I've got a bunch of vets with me, and we see someone burning a flag, we're going to go to war to get that flag. That's just how it is, man. Because I know it's just a piece of cloth, but to us, like guys who are willing to die for what it stands for, it means something to us. So just understand that, like, what might be a meaningless symbol to you means a lot to people who are willing to die for it, and all the other people who died with that flag. So yeah, I'd love to see it, Brett. In my last house, I always had a flag hanging, and I would hang all the traditional flags, like "Don't Tread on Me," and I had another one, "Come and Take It," like all the flags from the Revolutionary War. I had all of them. So like every other day, I was putting up a new flag, and being in California, a lot of my neighbors didn't like it because they think it's like sexist or something. I don't know, to have traditional patriotic flags, but I thought it was cool, especially the "Come and Take It" one. It's like a cannon. And there's a history behind all of them, so I'm with you, Brett. Hey, Avilia, super, super glad that you're here, and hugs back to you. And I appreciate all you guys, because it really gave me an opportunity to have some friends because all I do is work all the time. So this was a really nice opportunity to hang out. So tonight we discussed civil asset forfeiture, both federal and state. And I showed you some clips. We did a little bit of a attorney reaction stuff about that. So you kind of get an idea, if you carry a lot of cash around, guys, you definitely don't want to participate in an investigation against yourself. And I think that if you guys would reach out to me or reach out to BZ Watchdog, and maybe we can start a letter writing campaign. Like I'll help draft a letter, like a draft letter, right? Draft a letter that you guys could use or upload. I'll put it on like my blog. And then you just, copy and paste it. And then you change the text to fit your congressman, your senator, state, local, whatever it might be. And let's push for state as well as federal civil asset forfeiture reform. And maybe we can form a confederation with guys like, Steve Leto. Hold on, I'll put him back up here. This guy, I like this guy. I'm not sure what state he's in, but he's got some really, really good videos, and you can tell that he cares about people. So if anybody knows who Steve Leto is, and then the pro bono lawyers, if anybody knows who the pro bono lawyers are who represented that Marine, please reach out to me. Let's try to form some kind of a confederation, because we can all talk about it. We can all complain about what's going on, but there's only a few people that have a plan. Like Chili de Castro actually has a plan. He's gonna hopefully win the governorship, and that'll put him in a position where he's got control over appointing judges and passing executive orders that could drastically change the scheme, the civil liberties scheme, overturning Terry versus Ohio. Now, for me, I'm all about, going directly, letter writing and lobbying, because I have a core group of lawyers already who will go to DC with me to lobby for a federal bill, or to overturn this crummy law that we have, right? To lobby to have it not just overturned and not replaced either, gone. But what we don't have is a network of lawyers at the state level. So at the state level, that's my concern, that if I could get one person from Massachusetts, if Free Country was from Massachusetts and my dog Rex was from, Louisiana, for example, then there's two states right there. You could help me. We could start forming lobbying groups in those states, and so on and so forth. And then we could actually start changing legislation. Trust me, we can make waves on YouTube. I'm sure it didn't evade the judge's attention, the appellate court's attention, how popular this issue was with Chili and his false arrest and false conviction and all that stuff that happened to him. So, all this stuff that we're doing here is raising awareness, guys. I mean, when I get lots of views and people share this stuff, this is a big deal. This is a game changer. We could change the world, but it's not just about watching videos and complaining. We have to do something. So I invite everybody in my audience here to help me hit that like and subscribe button, of course, but to help me organize lobbying efforts in your locales so we can start pushing to overturn civil asset forfeiture laws, not just Terry versus Ohio. I mean, these civil asset forfeiture laws have got to go. Bad news, guys. Bad. Evil, pure evil. Give me a bunch of ones if you think that civil asset forfeiture laws are evil. Now, to differentiate it a little bit, you've got these eminent domain laws, but eminent domain laws are a little bit different. The government's forced to pay you fair market value for stuff. So that doesn't happen with civil asset forfeiture. They just take your money. They don't give you anything back in return, except for the mark of the scarlet letter that, your money somehow was drug proceeds, right? So you have that on your record at least, but it's civil, so it's good, right? All right. So Chad Crum, thanks for joining me. Brett Ray, thanks for the cool super chat. I really do appreciate that, by the way. And oh, cool. BZ Watchdog's got some fresh body cam footage, and he needs a 1A lawyer. I'll take a look at it, brother. And I'm with you. Yeah, my dog Rex is saying, where's the corpus delicti, the damaged victim, the injured party? Well, that's a conversation we should have in another episode, but I'm down to talk about it, about how courts have treated, what is and what isn't a victim, and how it's changed and evolved over the years. But clearly the only victim here is we, the people, and that's just been going on at lightning speed. We got this wide open southern border. They're replacing us, so we got to do something, guys. We've got to do something. We cannot allow this to keep happening. Steve Ladner, I know a little bit about it. Hey, what's the matter, you? Yeah. Good seeing you guys, man. All right. So look, I think I'm going to close out the show. I'm really tired, but look, guys, I really do appreciate you supporting my channel. One of the best ways that you could support my channel right now is to go to my profile and click on the description, drop down to the PayPal thing, and buy my digital ebook about my journey to becoming a lawyer with no undergrad or law degree. And I talk about how I did it and share it with a friend, buy it for a friend, or something. And that way that helps me justify spending all this time here. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really make, monetized or not, you're not making money off YouTube. The only people making money off YouTube is YouTube. So there you go. But if you want to help support me, you can do that. And Stomper, I appreciate it. What's the matter, you? Good seeing you. Chad Crum, everybody. I'm so glad you guys all showed up, and I do appreciate your support. Avilia Gill, Larry Kelly. Haven't seen some of my buddies. Haven't seen Brick around in a while, but I'm sure he's freaking buried. I know he's got his own channel going, but I really wish all you guys the best. And I really think that we need to talk about starting to lobby to get some of these laws overturned, not just talk about running for office, but us right now, today. I can help draft the letters. Let's start a letter writing campaign. Let's see how many signatures we can gather to start overturning some of these crazy laws. Let's start deleting laws. Let's do it together. I mean, I'll help. So give me a bunch of ones if you want to delete laws. Because if you do, you can reach out to me and I can help you start that process. And we'll work together as a team. Okay, deal? Bunch of ones, bunch of twos if you don't want to delete laws and you want to block me. Let's see here. So, yeah, what's the matter, you? I'm pretty sure he does have a channel. I think he just set it up, if I'm not mistaken. BZ Watchdog, if you could share us with Brick's link to his channel, if you have it. And guys, I have to go grab something to eat. I'm dying and I'm super dehydrated. So I will do my best to reach out tomorrow. I can't promise you anything, but I do have some surprise guests that are coming up. And I do plan on doing some other shows with BZ where we talk a little bit more about some of his recent public record requests and things like that. I'm really impressed with the public records request thing, guys, because you can just really, you can get some amazing stuff that'll just blow your freaking mind, blow your mind. Like, wow, stuff that, man alive. Yeah. So anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this bad chicken out. So yeah, hugs and kisses, Avilia. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And make sure to always press the save thing too, not just like and subscribe. Save it, save it. And other than that, I invite you guys to help me start lobbying to overturn civil asset forfeiture laws. That's the only way we're going to do it, guys, is getting local government involved and showing that we're a force to be reckoned with. The Team MPE is a force to be reckoned with. Always be civil, always be kind, but be firm and stand firm in your position and never back up, never surrender. Semper Fi, do or